Hello and welcome to the funniest stuff you've never heard. I'm your host, Noah Britton. Each episode of this show focuses on a funny person or group and digs deep for hilarious stuff even big fans of theirs don't know. This week our guest is Matt Farley of Motern Media. Matt Farley has been releasing music since the early 90s, but it wasn't until 2007 when he discovered that after over a decade, the only songs of his that made any money online were the silly ones, like Shut Up Your Monkey.
Get down, get funky, shut up, yo monkey. Get down, get funky, shut up, yo monkey.
Instead of quitting music, he decided to capitalize on this realization and started releasing as many novelty songs as possible, with the goal of making enough albums that even with profits of $2 per song, he could earn a living. In the first instance I know of an artist relying on search engine optimization to dictate his art, Matt Farley started recording songs named after celebrities, songs with the same title as pre-existing famous songs, and songs named for household objects that didn't yet have themes, like the punch bowl.
I got a punch bowl, I put my punch in it, then I scoop it out with a ladle, then I pour it in to my cup and then I drink it. What a great system! Punch bowl, punch bowl, punch bowl, punch bowl, punch bowl, punch bowl, yeah! Punch bowl, punch bowl, punch bowl, punch bowl, punch bowl, punch bowl, yeah! If you try to give me punch, it didn't come out of a punch bowl. I'm gonna have to punch you in your face. I am a classy and distinguished individual. I only drink punch that comes out of a punch bowl. Punch bowl.
In 2017, Matt was finally able to quit his day job and now lives entirely on streaming royalties from the more than 20,000 songs he's released under 75-plus band names, including the guy who sings songs about cities and towns,
Waterbury, Connecticut. It's a good city in Connecticut. It's called the Brass City. Yes, it's the Brass City. What is more lasting than brass? Nothing. Waterbury.
the best birthday song band ever,
Hey, hey, guess what day it is? It's October 4, and it's your birthday. Hey, hey, guess what day it is? It's July 8th, and it's your birthday. Hey, hey, guess what day it is? It's February 29th, and it's your birthday.
and the guy who sings your name over and over.
Nathan, Nathan, Nathan.
But the most famous of Matt's projects has to be the Toilet Bowl Cleaners, whose albums include songs about poop, puke, and pee,
Oh, poop, 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 poop. Poop, 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 poop.
the White Album with brown and yellow stains,
You gotta wipe your butt cheeks after you poop. After you sit down to poop, the inside of your butt cheeks are filled with little pieces of poop. Yeah, butt cheeks, butt cheeks, butt cheeks. You got cheeks on your face, you also got cheeks on your butt.
and You Thought We Ran Out of Poop Song Ideas, You Were Wrong.
I've got my Bristol stool chart on my wall. It tells me which category my stool falls into. Oh, 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 oh. And by stool I mean poop. Oh, 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 oh. They call it stool. Oh, 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 oh. It's just a fancy word for poop. Oh, 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 oh. It's in a nice, nice frame, 'cause it's a work of art. My precious, 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 precious Bristol stool chart. Oh, 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 oh. Every variety of poo. Oh, 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 oh. Don't you know? Oh, 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 oh. That you should get one too. Oh, 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 oh. They ought to make a Bristol fart chart. They ought to make a Bristol fart chart too. It would be scratching.
So far, the Toilet Bowl Cleaners have released 12 albums about gross bodily fluids and one album of mature love songs named, in Matt's typical literal style, Mature Love Songs.
I'm broken hearted 'cause you're gone, singing my heart aching song. What you did to me was wrong. I'm broken hearted 'cause you're gone.
Though the Toilet Bowl Cleaners have millions of Spotify streams, few came from that album, which was, in Matt's words, a flop. So he has since returned to form on 2 other Toilet Bowl Cleaners albums, Poop Oh Yeah, Poop Yes, Poop, and the Emergency Poop EP.
Poop is its own reward.
The Toilet Bowl Cleaners aren't Matt's only scatological group. The Odd Man Who Sings About Poop, Puke, and Pee is a competing project on Motern Media that, as usual, consists entirely of Matt Farley.
Honey badger poop, 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 poop. Honey badger poop, 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 poop. See that poop over there? That's honey badger poop.
And this is when things begin to get really interesting. Matt created a dispute between his band, The Singing Animal Lover, which is just him, and the record label Motern Media, which is also just him. So initially, The Singing Animal Lover released 2 albums of songs about animals.
Llama, 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 llama.
Followed by an album called It's Time to Know the Truth.
Matt Farley is a thief. Matt Farley is a liar and a big old jerk. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Matt Farley is the president of Motern Media, a terrible organization that I very much hate. Oh, I came up with a very good idea for an album. I said, hey boss, what do you say I do an album about animal poop? And Matt Farley, that's my boss, he said, that's a very good idea. Get out of my face, I'm gonna steal your idea, give it to somebody else. So, Matt Farley stole my brilliant idea, and he gave it to the odd man who sings about poop, puke, and pee.
Which was the first album Matt put out that wasn't on Motern Media. Followed by the Singing Animal Lovers album, Animal Poop Songs, which came out 10 days after the album of the same name by the Odd Man Who Sings About Poop, Puke, and Pee. Both of these albums had almost identical song titles, including the Singing Animal Lovers' own version of a honey badger poop song.
Honey badger's a ferocious little creature. Honey badger's a ferocious little creature. Honey badger's also really good at pooping, 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 pooping all over the place.
Matt, I want to welcome you and thank you very much for doing this interview. How did you think of this last idea?
I don't know. It just dawned on me like, oh, wouldn't it be hilarious if these 2 entities are fighting, because everyone loves a music beef, you know?
What other conflicts, what other beefs do you have on the label now?
The very nice, interesting singer man, he had a breakdown when he came out with Common Phrases, and Matt Farley, the guy who runs Motern Media, was not pleased. But he decided to ride it out, and he let the very nice, interesting singer man make his. He wanted to do like a personal album instead of singing novelty songs. He wanted to sing about his personal struggles.
Right.
And he did this album called "Keep Being Awesome," which is a masterpiece about just being isolated and sad and miserable. But
life is long, and I might get caught, but it's also short and probably not. My only regrets are the fights I never fought, all the stuff that I've been taught, I forgot. All except for one lesson, that's keep them guessing. If they think you won't press, it's time for pressing. The only field that I want success in is the inability to give a false confession. 'Cause I keep on yelling loud, and I keep on feeling proud as authorities remove
then Matt Farley performed a lobotomy on him to fix him. And so if you look at the cover of his next album, which is called Games and Sports, he's got like a bandage around his head, and he's back to singing jolly songs about everyday occurrences.
That's an extremely optimistic view of what a lobotomy would do to someone.
Well, there's the belief that he didn't even perform the procedure. He just told the guy that he was doing it. That was enough. And so
placebo effect.
Exactly. And then the very nice, interesting singer man finds love in his next album called Roy and Kathy. And it's all about his brief love affair with this girl named Kathy, who is also the love interest of the guy who sings about cities and towns.
And was she the one who left on the album I've Never Left My Hometown?
Yes, exactly. That's Kathy.
Okay.
Kathy leaves Ebenezer. Ebenezer is the name of the guy who sings about cities and towns. And immediately meets Roy, who is the very nice, interesting singer man, and has a brief weekend fling with him. It's quite a story.
So do you think Kathy will ever have a child with anyone on your label?
Kathy's got to come out with a solo album where she laments the fact that she doesn't choose men very wisely.
So that's awesome, because I also had spoken about the various out of character albums. So we have Mature Love Songs by the Toilet Bowl Cleaners.
Yeah.
And then we have I've Never Left My Hometown by the Cities and Towns. And then what other out of character records have shown up besides those ones you just mentioned?
So yeah, the one I said, Keep Being Awesome by the very nice, interesting singer man. And then there's Intensely Personal Songs by the passionate and objective Joker fan. And then there's one called Paparazzi Gets Introspective and Shares his Worldview by Paparazzi and the Photogs.
So this leads me to two questions. So first one is, where did you get the name The Passionate and Objective Joker Fan?
He evolved into a character who sings about singers and music. But he started off, I just had an idea way back, like in 2008. I was like, I should do a whole album about Bob Dylan. And
oh, wow.
And
Joker
so
Man.
Dylan has a song called Joker Man, and so I came up with Joker Fan. Passionate and objective, I just threw that in there because the more words in your artist name, the more likely you're going to hit on a search.
Oh, I wondered why that was, because your band names almost never roll off the tongue comfortably, and I wondered why that was, and it's the SEO thing again. So the Joker Fan joke is a really interesting thing because it reminds me of Motern Media, which is also an extraordinarily esoteric pun that probably no one has ever figured out without it being explained.
I don't know if I figured it out. What is the pun?
Well, I thought it was a portmanteau of modern and Motown, right?
Oh, no, I mean, no. It was just a word I made up in the 90s. I was trying to write a book that was 10,000 pages long. And my only goal was to fill 10,000 pages. And I was trying to write a different word, and I accidentally wrote Motern. And then I was like, maybe that should be the name of the book. I only got 2,000 pages done.
Wow. So that's fascinating, because even by the 90s, you were into these endurance experiments.
Yeah.
And yet it took you another 10 years to do it or even to think about attempting it in your musical career.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was pretty prolific. In like senior year in college, I made 5 albums. Each were 90 minutes long.
Okay. And that was Mose Haven, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then in 2006, Mose Haven, we did 30 minutes of music every day for the entire year.
Right.
So,
and then you compiled those into the best album of the month.
Correct.
Okay, because that was, I always saw that as the beginning of your endurance project. So that's 2006. But if you wanted to write a 10,000 word book 10 years later, I think it's really interesting. Like, why is it that you have such a mathematical approach to music?
Yeah, I don't know. I just find I just like enormous projects. I just think they're interesting and funny to think of, and it just my instinct. And slowly I developed a philosophy around it. Mostly the philosophy is if you sit around and try to make a perfect work of art, if you spend 5 years working on one perfect work of art, maybe it'll be really good. But if you spend those 5 years just making 100 works of art, then you'll probably have 10 things that are just as good as that perfect one would have been. And I find it to be stifling to try to make one great thing.
Have you ever heard of the performance artist Touching Hsieh?
No.
So he did these endurance pieces in the early 80s. The first one was he took a picture of himself every hour for a year at this time clock. So he couldn't go more than half an hour away from where the time clock was located ever. And this wasn't something that he made for anyone else to see. He just did it. And the next year, he did a piece where he spent an entire year basically locked in a jail cell that he built. And he'd have somebody come bring him food, and that was it. He didn't do anything else but sit in this jail cell that he built. And it was open to the public like 4 days, where you could just see this guy sitting in a jail cell. And that was all he did with this performance piece. And then another one was he couldn't go indoors for a year. And so he slept outside. This all happened in New York City. So he's freezing, in the cold, homeless for a year. And then the most interesting one, I think, was he and another artist tied themselves together with a rope for a year. So they were never more than like 5 or 10 feet apart. And they didn't know each other very well at the beginning. And when they were laying in bed, you could look at the ceiling and see where they had scratched the ceiling because they were so annoyed with each other because they couldn't get any privacy. And yet they both continued with this project. It reminds me of you in that it's so much work with so little concern for external validation, but at the same time, obviously, there is something in him that knows this is genius, and he deserves some credit for this stuff. And I think you outwardly admit this sometimes in your work. And you have the songs about how you're a hack and how you're bad at this. I'll play one.
I'm just a stupid hack. I came up with a stupid idea to make myself a little bit of money. I found a way to cheat the system, make a little money with some stupid music.
Was this a fleeting feeling of like, I'm a hack and my stuff is bad? Or was this something that is sort of always in the back of your head?
No, I mean, my self-confidence is pretty huge. And so even when I was doing that song, like, obviously I can recognize criticism of my stuff, especially when it's a song that I just bang on a few chords and sing. People say like, that's not a real song. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's kind of funny. And just the fact that it exists is what makes it funny to me,
Yeah.
And so, I don't get down on myself at all. I think it's hilarious. But I mean, I think all those descriptions you told me of that guy, I think that's hilarious too. So
it is. He's a genius. He now co-owns a restaurant in Brooklyn, and unfortunately, it's not that weird. It's just a regular restaurant that's kind of expensive. But yeah, he's one of those people who, nobody could do what he did. And I think you're in that group for sure.
Well, a lot of times when there's an article about me, you see comments where people are like, oh, I should do that. And I see those comments. I say, yeah, right. You'll give up after 25 songs. You have no idea the amount of time and just like psychic energy that it takes to write one song, let alone thousands.
So I saw an interview where you said you would do 30 to 40 songs a day. Do you know what's the most you've written in one day?
For like completely original, each song is completely its own thing. Yeah, right around there in the 30s somewhere.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, actually, now that I think of it, I did 60 in one day once.
Wow. What were they?
Most of them are not released. That was in college. My friend Tom from Mose Haven, it was right like the day before graduating. I was like, we can do one more 90-minute album. And we made a list of 60 topics. And then he just strum on some chords and I'd just start singing. And we did it to build up the tape. It was
wow.
So much fun.
So yeah, of course. So this leads me to another thing I've wondered. You say you've released 20,000 songs. Does this exclude all of your early work with Mose Haven that's not available?
Right. That's only what's been released.
Well, that was released, but in small quantities.
Yeah, no, but I mean, there's even more unreleased Mose Haven stuff.
Sure, of course.
There's probably at least 1,000 unreleased Mose Haven songs.
What about private or personal stuff that's not Mose Haven? How many unreleased songs has Matt Farley written alone?
Only custom songs. I do like 300 to 500 custom songs every year that people pay for, and most of those don't get released.
So that's been going on how long then? Since
2016, I've been doing it. Before then, I did a bunch, but yeah.
So you've recorded more than 23,000 songs then, as far as stuff even that people have gotten to hear.
Yeah, but then I would take it. Just keep. I want to be honest, and it's like the guy who sings your name over and over again.
Yeah.
Song, but it's a different name, and that's
right.
That's like 1,700 of them right there. So
but it's honest. Yeah, well, bands keep ripping off their hit to try and get popular again. So you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Why haven't you ever done an album purely for the purpose of having the most songs on it? And by that I mean every song is 1 second long.
CD Baby, the company that I use to release music, they have a limit on it's 100 tracks in an album.
Interesting.
So
okay.
Anything with more than that, and Spotify won't pay until someone's been listening at least 20 seconds. So
interesting. Okay, so you need to release a lot of 20-second songs then.
I don't want to get on Spotify's bad side, so
I see. Okay.
I try to keep it all above board. All the songs are at least a minute, and because I love Spotify. A lot of people look at what I'm doing and they're like, "Ha, you're showing Spotify. You're beating them at their game." And I'm like, "No, Spotify's amazing. I have a membership, and I even think it pays well. A lot of people complain about the pay rate, but I think it's fair."
And that's how you make your living is Spotify, right?
Yeah, that and the custom songs, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this leads me to the question, why do you hate swearing so much?
Well, I don't do it because in 5th grade, all my friends started using bad words, and then they would like gang up on me and say, "Why aren't you saying bad words? Say a bad word." And I was like, I'm not gonna say a bad word just because you guys are being mean to me. And and basically, just because of that, I was like, well, if I'm not going to say a bad word now for them, I guess I should never say one, I just don't want to give them the satisfaction.
So you 30 years later, you were trying to prove something to children who are now grown-ups.
Yeah, well, I'm still friends with them. I see them, and they're like, come on, just say one swear. Just do it. I say, no, I won't do it.
That's amazing. So I went to your monthly celebration at the Danvers Historical Society. Me and Jack Hankey from Asperger's or Us went to see it. It was awesome. I recommend everybody go. The last Saturday of every month that you're allowed to leave the house, free show, 7 sharp, free snacks. But if you take a snack, you have to stay for the whole show. And I didn't feel like leaving. That didn't push me to stay. I really loved it. I'm sure there are some who don't agree. So the other thing about that show, which I loved, again, it was so funny, was your fans are really intense in how much they'll do to come see you. And so someone had flown in from Indiana, I think, that night, and you said you've had people from Australia and Belgium who fly in just to see you.
Yeah, it's pretty. So in addition to the monthly shows, once a year I have the extravaganza, and that's when people will really travel. Several people from Canada, people from all over the U.S. And at this point, we're all friends with each other, and it's turning into like a weekend-long hangout. The next one is going to be in October, and I know like a lot of the people who go like meet up for lunch ahead of time and just kind of hang out and explore the area. And then the day after the extravaganza, so October 25th, we're going to premiere the new movie we're working on, Metal Detector Maniacs. So there'll be stuff to do the whole weekend.
That's pretty cool. Have you done tours ever?
No. I mean, it's cool that I'm at the point where I can do the live show right in my hometown. So, like, I like performing, but touring just feels like a lot of work and
sure,
for potentially not for a lot of reward. Like a night that I spend in the basement recording 5 songs is more productive than packing up a van and driving somewhere, setting up, performing for like 7 people. And then
that makes sense. Back. Right. Well, maybe someday you'll be able to perform for 1,000 people, and then it would be worth it, I would hope. So just to set the scene for all the listeners, these shows are at the Danvers Historical Society, which is a place like there are in a lot of small towns where old people go to watch something that's kind of dull. And then Matt Farley shows up and sings Poop into a Wormhole. And I understand why you would want people to have to stay, to feel obligated to stay, because it wouldn't surprise me if some people are like, this is gross or this is stupid, I don't want to stay. But it's so funny and it's so good. You can see a few old ladies who get a little uncomfortable during the poop songs. Often I'll apologize to them and tell them, like, only 2 more poop songs. You can do it. You're going to get through this. But I mean, old ladies is not necessarily my target audience, but it's about 50% of the people show. But the beauty of, the thing is, like, kids are finding the songs, and 2 million streams just for one song on Spotify is amazing for the poop song. The thing is, they know about the toilet bowl cleaners, but they don't know about me necessarily, Yes. It fascinates me that anyone could hear that and not want to know more about you. I just always, when you hear someone doing something weird like this, you want to know who made it and what other weird things have they made. But I think some people are just like, that was kind of funny, I'm going to go have dinner. And
exactly.
That's their interest in conceptual art. But those are not my listeners. So when you recorded the poop song, did you have any sense that this would be the thing that children would find because they want a poop song? Or was it just like, this is something people seem to like, I'm going to use it?
A little bit. I seem to recall at that point I had already released maybe 3 or 4 poop albums, and then at some point I was like, I need to have one that's called The Poop Song. So it's like those exact words to make make it as simple, searchable as possible. But I definitely didn't put a lot of work into it. Like,
it doesn't show. How often do you listen to the stuff you've just recorded?
If it's an album about celebrities, I really, I record it and then, and that's it pretty much. But
like, are there any songs that you've literally never listened to after recording?
No, I think I have to kind of for quality control. I got to make sure that at least when I'm uploading it, that the
Yeah,
song matches the title.
that
So
makes sense. One of your great should-be hits is Mac and Cheese, and it is a hit on TikTok. Do you have any idea how this happened?
oh no idea. Mac and cheese, one of my favorite recipes. Mac and cheese, one of my favorite recipes. Really, what's beautiful about all the novelty songs is that they're making me enough money that I can afford to write these heartfelt, honest songs that I'm actually way more proud of. So, so it's a pretty good situation.
One thing that I couldn't find evidence of you ever having done is writing a song with a message of some kind. Why is this? It seems like if you're writing every song possible about every possible topic, this would be a thing you could do, but are you consciously staying away from it, or does it just not interest you?
Yeah, I don't like messages. I feel like when there's a movie about like whatever the like the issue du jour,
Sure.
You make a movie about whatever is like the thing that's on the pulse of the zeitgeist, then that movie gets into all the film festivals, and the movie doesn't have to be good because you're hiding behind the issue. So you make this garbage movie, but everyone's afraid to say, sorry, this movie stinks, because it's about whatever people are talking about at the time. And those movies just become very dated and no one goes back to them. And I feel the same way about music. I mean, look at We Are the World, I hate that so much. It just, and it feels so opportunistic, and I know that I'm considered the spammer of Spotify and a fake artist, but I do have integrity, and I'm not gonna sing about whatever, what so many people do stuff like that, and it bugs me to no end.
Well, I'm pleased you don't let yourself do any virtue signaling, but you're also a big fan of Bob Dylan, and Bob Dylan did make songs that had messages to them.
Yeah, and I think he was being quite opportunistic and conniving when he did it.
Okay, interesting. That's very possible, but and I respect the fact that your songs don't have messages, because I'm sure that would kill a lot of your audience who just love you because it's pure and they don't have to worry about whether they agree or disagree with you.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's impossible to agree with anybody, especially in terms of public figures. People are very particular about the beliefs of their public figures, like as if James Joyce had the right opinion about every potential topic. Like, I don't know what his topics were, but he wrote some good books. I don't tackle specific like issues, but I'm sure some of the songs are about calling out fraudulence and whatnot.
Have you had anybody recommend you record a song, or even hire you to record a song, and you're like, I literally can't do this. This is impossible?
Well, I don't really, in terms of just recommending, I have trouble doing a song if it didn't come from me, because it becomes like laborious. So people send me suggestions a lot, and I accept them as graciously as I can, but it's like as soon as the suggestion comes, for the most part, like I'm no longer interested in the topic.
This is how Weird Al operates as well. The only time he ever did a song anyone else suggested was when he heard Madonna had suggested Like a Surgeon.
Yeah, and if Madonna made a suggestion, I'd probably move forward with it for sure. But in terms of like custom songs, I mean, I do almost every suggestion. People are paying, and I'll sing about almost everything they want. I still don't say bad words, and there've been a few where I was just like, I don't feel like this is right for me. But I mean, I've said no to like less than 10. But I mean, I've done songs for funerals, you know?
Yeah. What was that song like?
It was just a Matt Farley song, kind of, celebrating the guy's life and doing it with, some emotion and some humor. And
Was he a fan?
It was the girlfriend of the deceased who had me do the song, and previously she had me do a song trying to cheer him up when he was sick. So they knew my music, and I'm assuming that song was something they liked listening to, and she got the idea. I don't even know if she played it, if she ended up playing it at the funeral. For all I know, she heard it and was like, "Yeah, forget it." But I did my duty.
Okay. But yeah, you were still singing. Like, I can't imagine you were singing in the way that you sing on Punch Bowl or something like that. But you were, I'm guessing, trying to sing more like I'll Make a Poster or one of the quieter ones.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
cool. What do you want played at your funeral?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I got nothing for you on that one. I don't know.
Would it be one of yours or someone else?
It might as well be one of mine. I mean, this is my last show.
Then you'll get the royalties.
It's you got to stream it. Don't play any MP3s. We're streaming it.
Right. Yeah, I think perhaps you could even make a record of songs to play at my funeral.
Yeah, I'll make a little playlist. Yeah, and that's a good idea. I like
or
it.
even just writing songs specifically for your funeral.
Thank you for
I would go just to hear that, like, I'm dead. I love the literal way that you write stuff, because how else could it be? It would be tough to use metaphor if you were writing 60 songs in a day, but the literalness also, in addition to being faster, just makes it so much funnier.
Yeah, I remember once back in the 90s, I went to a show in Providence, and the guy, he introduced the song. I don't even remember what the band was. It was the opening band. And he's like, this is about a guy watching as his house burns down. And in my head immediately was like, my house is burning down. Oh, no, look at it burn. Oh, no. And then he goes into this, like, he's strumming the guitar, and it's this poetic thing. Like, you couldn't even tell from the lyrics what it was about.
Well, that's why he had to explain it.
Yeah, exactly. So I was disappointed, but clearly I was already on the path for my life's work.
How many people have listened to all of your songs so far?
I think there's one guy in Wisconsin who he chronicled it on Twitter a few years ago, and then there's another guy currently in the Tampa, Florida area who's in the midst of doing it. But the guy in Tampa, he's taking notes and whatnot too. He's got a website where he's like keeping track of what he's discovering. Nothing but me since August. Yeah, he told me I got to get a less creaky chair, because you can always hear the chair creaking in every track.
Do you know, have either of these guys said, like, I'm glad I did this, or this was a mistake?
I had the first guy on my podcast for a little bit, and we chatted for a little bit. He was really just a no-nonsense kind of guy, and he just did a couple albums every day until he was done, and he didn't really have. I'll assume he enjoyed it. I mean, he could have stopped. Okay. And then the guy in Tampa, I've talked to him a few times, and he's still very gung-ho about it and having a good time. He's got a real good sense of humor, and he's got a lot of young kids, and so they're singing a lot of poop songs in that household.
That's beautiful. Yeah. How is it being a dad and having to be like, sorry, I got to go to the basement and record 50 songs where I just say Bill over and over?
Well, I mean, it's beautiful that I can work from home. And, my wife works 4 days a week. So on those days, I'm in charge of the kids. So we don't need any kind of daycare or anything. Mm-hmm. And so that's good. And then, yeah, I mean, it's just normal life for the kids to hear the sounds of their dad, croaking into a microphone all day long. They just block it out at this point, I think.
What's the funniest thing you've done that wasn't released or recorded?
Oh, funniest thing I've done. Well, when we were done the 365 album project of 06,
Mm-hmm.
I spent it was a little short of 8 days straight in my apartment listening to every one of them, one after the other. And I never left the apartment. I had people come to listen with me throughout the week, but there were a lot of just long stretches of me sitting there listening to me. And that was pretty funny. I mean, that definitely qualifies for some kind of conceptual art piece.
Right. Absolutely. The dedication. Were you sleeping at all during this time?
Yeah, I had a 6 CD changer, so I could sleep up to 6 hours, and then I'd have an alarm set where I have to get up and put 6 more in there and then go back to sleep. So just because I could put 6, each disc had an hour of music on it. And so I press play, and then it plays for 6 hours, and I don't have to change discs, right?
Okay, but so it was playing while you slept?
Yeah.
Do you remember dreaming about any of this music during that time?
No, much like my children, I kind of blocked it out, I think.
I'm sorry to hear you blocked out your children. What's a question you wish you would get asked?
I wish people listen to I call them the No Jokes album, and I'm glad that you've listened to a lot of them, and I appreciate it that, like, you know songs like Dig In and I'll Be So Emotional That You Just Want to Puke, and You're So Cute, So Confident, So Unfamiliar Too. I could have sworn I knew you years ago at the carnival by the tracks. Remember Dunk the Clown, Rotten Teeth, and Undercooked Flapjacks. I'll make a poster, but I mean, I would like to be treated like a legitimate songwriter. And I mean, I have literally like dozens of legit good, just like rock albums or whatever you want to call them, that I think are as good as anything out there. So, I'd love to have that stuff treated with the respect it deserves. Yeah. And ultimately, who cares? I get to do it. I get to get those songs out of my system, and so what that no one likes. No one likes.
I mean, you're making money as a musician, and you're writing what you want to write. And people who criticize you saying like he's just gaming the system, they're missing the point, because first of all, you're gaming the system to be funny, but also you're gaming the system in a way where the songs you're writing are your songs. They're not like espousing opinions you disagree with. They're just, the way you would handle these topics. And so you have true artistic integrity.
Thanks. And I was definitely, I was doing all of this stuff way before it was profitable. I wrote Shut Up Your Monkey in 1988. There was no.
Have you ever thought of just retiring and living off royalties?
Yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, the whole goal is to have time to make more art. So, I mean, retiring for me would mean continuing to do what I do, maybe doing fewer name poop songs or whatever. But I mean, I would still be churning out the No Jokes albums or just, making movies and so on and so forth. So, I mean, otherwise, I don't know. I don't want to just sit around and relax too much.
Right. I know you've slowed down since you got the 20,000th song out there, but how many have you released since then?
I've released 136, but I have another like 70 that are coming out this month. So we're looking at 200 since then.
What are your favorite funny songs that haven't gotten as much attention as you think they could?
I think there's that album Household Products and Household Items. It's got the Punch Bowl song on it. I mean, the Punch Bowl song is not popular, and I think it's fantastic. But that whole album, I think, is just full of treasures. Like Hand Soap is a real good song. Oh, and Bleach is amazing. Yeah.
My whites get dirty and I want them to be clean. Very, 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 very clean. Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah. I'm not just talking clean, I'm talking disinfection. And when it comes to that, there's only one selection. I use bleach, I use bleach, I use blah 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 bleach, bleach, bleach. I use bleach, I use bleach, I use blah 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 bleach, 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 bleach.
What are the worst moments you've had in this career of making these things since 2007?
Worst moment. I mean, it's very hard to get me down. I've never really felt, I've had my eyes on the prize the whole time. I've basically always thought I was moving in the right direction. Every once in a while it stings a little bit when you see a comment online about some of the stuff, but really I've just been happily doing my thing. I'm annoyingly positive.
I don't think it's annoying. I think it's admirable. And it's very reminiscent of your attitude about recording in the first place, where you've unlocked the secret of creativity, which is just to never question what you're doing. And there's something to be said for that. That's the rule of improv. And it certainly works. If your goal is to not be self-conscious and you want to make something without fear, that's definitely the way to do it.
I have a playlist called Official Motern Media Playlist. It's got 300 of my best songs. You know, I try to put some of the better ones higher up on the list, but for the most part, every time I come out with an album, whatever the best tracks are, I'll throw on there. Do
you wish you could work with any specific musicians?
Not really. I'm not a good collaborator. Like, I find that just collaborating with people is a very delicate dance, if you will. And I've got 3 guys that I've known for like 30 years, and we work well together, but anytime I try collaborating with people that I've just kind of met, it's just hard, and it's hard to get into a good rhythm and whatnot. So if anything, it would be cool if some established artists covered some of my songs. I would find that really cool.
Have you ever pretended to be insulted when someone hasn't heard one of your songs?
No, I don't think so.
Because it seems like, when someone's like, oh, I don't know that one, you are the one person who could never be upset that someone had missed something.
I'm pretty much ecstatic anytime anyone's talking about my music, but I definitely don't hold it against them for not having found it. It's definitely not being promoted at all, So
what's in the works now? What's coming up?
So those guys that I told you about, our latest band is called The Big Heist. And a month ago, we had a show at Tufts University, which was unbelievable. They were moshing to our music at this frat house. It was a very unexpected performance. But while they were here, we recorded the framework of a new album, which is coming out next week. It's called Tightrope by The Big Heist, and it's the best album of the 2020s. And then in addition to that, I'm getting back to work and churning out more novelty songs, an album about cities and towns in Maryland, and a new toilet bowl cleaners album, more name poop songs. I'm just going to be churning them out.
How do you pick what towns to sing about?
Well, I went on Twitter and asked people what state I should do. And Dan Deacon, the
sure,
musician, he suggested Maryland. And I said, when Dan Deacon speaks, the guy who sings about cities and towns listens. So that's how I got Maryland. And then I just go to Wikipedia and work off the population from the most populated until I've gone down to 50 songs. And then that's it.
What's the smallest town you've done?
I don't know specifically, but probably below 1,000.
You target markets so specifically and so intentionally. Are there any other conceptual ideas you haven't done with this yet that you're thinking about?
No, not really. I'm happy that I have a lot of cities and towns left, just because it doesn't exhaust me creatively to do those albums. It's, I can have like a movie playing in front of me, and I'll just pause it when it's time to sing the vocals, and then I'll turn it back on. And it's better than just sitting down on a couch and watching a movie.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's all I have. Except I got to tell everybody, if you're interested in Matt Farley, he has an entire wiki, and I don't mean an entry on Wikipedia. I mean an entire wiki for Motern Media that will give you all the information you could possibly want, and probably more. And how much of that was your doing versus fans?
I had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Wow.
Wow. I'm so proud. I don't even know. I know a few people who've added to it. I don't know who did the bulk of it. It's a mystery. And
because it's a thing of beauty.
Whoever did it put a lot of time into it, and I'm super grateful.
That was such a help for me, being able to research this. So what song should we close with? I am thinking, if it's okay with you, that we would close the same way we're going to close every episode, which is a song about the guest written by Matt Farley. So here we would probably pick the positive one, not the one about how you're a hack or how you're a thief, but but how you're a great songwriter, man.
That's fine by me. I approve.
Perfect. All right. So Matt Farley, our house band, Motern Media, is going to be closing every episode with an original song about our guest. And since it is our first episode and he is our guest, here is Matt Farley's song about Matt Farley and Motern Media. We'll see you next week.
Let me tell you about Matt Farley. Let me tell you about Matt Farley. Matt Farley is the greatest songwriter in the world. Matt Farley is a member of the band Motern. Matt Farley made some of the best songs of all time with Motern. The other member of Motern is Tom Scalzo. Farley and Scalzo are the two greatest songwriters of all time. All time, all time. Matt Farley wasn't satisfied. Matt Farley was not satisfied being the greatest songwriter of all time. So he spent days and weeks and months and years in his basement making more and more music. Matt Farley puts out a couple albums every month. He changes his name with each album that he puts out. He puts out this amazing, ridiculous, magnificent piano pop out there into the world, and he changes his name with each album that he puts out, and nobody knows what he's doing, but he knows what he's doing. He's Matt Farley. I'm talking about Matt Farley. He is the greatest singer-songwriter in the world.